The eye can hardly pick them out from the cold shade they shelter in, till wind distresses tail and mane. Then one crops grass and moves about, the other seeming to look on, and stands anonymous again. Yet 15 years ago, perhaps 24 distances sufficed to fable them. Faint afternoons of cups and steaks and handicaps, whereby their names were artifice to inlay faded classic dunes. Silks at the start. Against the sky, numbers and parasols. Outside, squadrons of empty cars, and heat, and littered grass. Then the long cry, hanging unhushed till it subside to stop-press columns on the street. Do memories plague their ears, like flies? They shake their heads. Dusk brims the shadows. Summer by summer all stole away. The starting gates, the crowds and cries, all but the unmolesting meadows. Almanacked, their names live. They have slipped their names and stand at ease, or gallop for what must be joy, and not a field glass sees them home, or curious stopwatch prophesies. Only the groom and the groom's boy, with bridles, in the evening come.
One afternoon, Philip Larkin went to the cinema, and before the main feature there was a short film about a racehorse called Brown Jack, who had retired. So it was about this racehorse and about his retirement. And for some reason, Larkin found himself really gripped by this, and when he got home he began writing this poem about the retirement of racehorses, and it is a lovely poem.
This poem, At Grass, is one of the earliest poems in which we can hear his true voice, the voice that we consider to be Larkin-esque. It's a voice which is full of melancholy, is wistful. It often wants to speak about a vanished England of one kind or another.
I suppose the poem, in a way, is about the conflict between the desire for a life of quiet retirement and the desire for a life of celebrity and events and buzz.
I think the poem works, especially filmically. It kind of moves from scene to scene. We almost seem to sort of start on this wide shot with the eye being hardly able to pick them out.
The eye can hardly pick them out from the cold shade they shelter in, till wind distresses tail and mane.
And then there's a technique of flashback, as if the whole sort of poem is in the world of film. Back to when these horses were famous racehorses.
We get the life that the racehorses used to have before they retired, the colour, the noise, the mess, the excitement. And this is something that Larkin's very good at, this kind of conjuring up in just a few lines a big scene like that.
Silks at the start. Against the sky, numbers and parasols. If you're reading it properly, you see silks at the start. He's got it. He's got you at that. Parasols, cars in the car park, the noise of the crowd.
And then it sort of comes back from a flashback, and then we appear to be on this very tight close-up of these horses with the flies around their ears.
Do memories plague their ears like flies? They shake their heads.
Do memories plague their ears like flies? I mean, are they still hearing the shouts of the crowd?
Like all Larkin's poems, it is at pains to make itself at once intense, a self-sufficient universe, as he once said about his own poems, accessible, uncomplicated, direct, all those kinds of things. And yet, once again, of course, the longer that we look at it, the more we realise how skillful the operation of that accessibility, in fact, is.
For Larkin, it's a surprisingly gentle poem. I mean, he could be pretty acerbic. And it seems as though there's a quiet form of envy for these horses who have already done their great deeds and have managed to sort of pass through them and are now in the present with all of the great glories of their life behind them in what appears to be a rather sort of tranquil, sort of after-gloried life.
Only the groom and the groom's boy with bridles in the evening come.
Some people find the ending of the poem sad or even sinister. And I know some commentators have thought that the groom and the groom's boy represent death, or that there's something sinister about the bridles. And I don't see it at all.
They're just in the meadow and running about, presumably for joy. They're not running to win a race. And they're alone. They're alone in retirement. And then, lovely image of peace. Only the groom and the groom's boy with bridles in the evening come.